Two-Faced was one of like the pioneers. And I don't use that word lightly, right? Like you guys were like the earliest of the earliest of the earliest. I think Nick's was maybe the only one that was a little bit earlier than you. And even then you guys were kind of doing it at the same time. What were some of the tactics? Well, I want to talk tactics or philosophies. Let's talk philosophy first, tactics second. So philosophically, what is your approach to influencer marketing, right? What are the core philosophies that you think drive a successful program and have driven you guys to be so successful over the last, 7-8 years of doing it?
I think it's a lot of things. I would say the top three are one, I'm like dying that I'm saying this right now, but authenticity. But okay, well, let me explain. What I mean by that is like actually, when you're working with someone, it's not based off of a number in an Excel spreadsheet, and it's not based off of, okay, well, who's going to earn me the highest EMV? Who's going to, who is like the it influencer of the moment, right? That's not a way to build a long-standing strategy, right? You
Mm-hmm,
have to really
mm-hmm.
go back to like, why do I need this content? What am I using this content for, right? So second is respect. I think it's a super this might be controversial. This is just me personally. I think it's an outdated philosophy to not pay influencers and pay creators. It's a
Mm-hmm.
job. Okay. You were okay paying your models, your photographers, your makeup artists, to do a campaign for you and then to use that image in your marketing. Why wouldn't you be okay with paying someone to use their content in your marketing? And let's all be honest, you're regramming it or you're using it in your advertising. So I think it's outdated. I think there has to be a mutual respect for people that this
Mm-hmm.
is their job, this is their livelihood, or if it's not their day job, they're hoping it to be, or it's their side gig. I don't care. It's the
Yeah.
hustle. I don't care. So I think that respect really, truly has to be there. And it doesn't mean that we can pay everyone. It doesn't mean that every single person we interact with is being paid as a creator, right? But it does mean that, you do have to understand that if this is someone's job, that, that has to be a part of it. So I think when I hear people saying, well, we don't pay influencers and look how great we are, as if that's like a positive. I think it's outdated. I think that's something that maybe if like 4 or 5, 6 years ago was happening more in the industry, but like today,
Mm-hmm.
right now, it's just not a long-term strategy. I think. And then the third thing I would say is like, you're not the smartest person in the room. You just aren't. So especially when it comes to social media. So any leader out there that thinks they are because they went to a nice fancy school, or they've been in the industry for fill in the blank number of years, it actually means nothing in influencer relations because, the kid you hire that's 20 probably knows more than you, because they grew up on the platform. They're using the platform. They're spending 3 hours every night on the platform, right? And what is that? Like Malcolm Gladwell says, you have to do 10,000 hours to be an expert at something. Well, that adds up really easy when you're on TikTok, a couple hours
8
each
hours a
night.
day.
That adds up really quickly. So, if you're a leader that's not on the platforms, not using the platforms, you have to really respect the team that you've created and you've hired and for the decision to make. Sometimes they bring me ideas and I'm like, I don't get it, but okay, let's do it. Let's do it. So
Well, so much of it is like inside
it
jokes,
is.
community,
It's so true. The inside joke. And like, if you don't know it and you're not part of it, it doesn't mean that it's not funny and it's not cool and it's not happening out there. Right. So don't just assume because you don't get it, that doesn't mean that it's not a good idea.
Yeah, no, it's I haven't, because I'm not leading any of those social teams. I don't have odd things presented to me like that, but I can only imagine some
Yes.
of the things that come across your desk. You're like, huh,
Yeah.
not,
I'm like,
don't get
okay,
it.
let's try it.
But so one of the things I think is really fascinating about TikTok is, and this is, it kind of already exists on Twitter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of the brand as a person, right? Like as a personality in written format. And you see this really commonly in TikTok videos, right? Where there'll be a video and in the comments, you'll see brands responding. And it's like, it
Yes.
can be really ironic
Those are
or
my
funny or,
favorite to read. Like,
yeah,
I
right.
love
So
those.
have,
Yes.
have you guys started trying to do that? And if you do, how do you balance that? Because some of this stuff gets pretty edgy, right? Like some of these comments are like, man, that person has a lot of leeway within this company to like go that direction. And it's like, and it works, but it's got to be a little scary. Have you guys started
Yes.
testing that out at all?
We have, what I would say is I think it kind of like, remember kind of Twitter a few years ago, it was always like the fast food companies that did this so well, like
Yes, like
the Burger Kings
Wendy's
of the
and
world and like Wendy's and all those. I mean, just so funny. And
yep.
humor is a big part of TikTok. You have to have a sense of humor. But yes, as a brand, you can't, cross a line. Um, but what I would say is the hard thing is finding those and not being late to the game, right? Because
Mm,
unless you're going to be self deprecating and be like, yeah, we're late, like, we just got here. But you have to really be like at that beginning when people are doing that. And it's not something that can be manufactured, right? And that goes back to having a team who's just organically on the channel. So, like a lot of times when we've been able to catch on fire on these trends as they're happening, it's been when we already have team members that are just on social, they're on TikTok that night, on their own personal TikToks, and they see it like, this is super cool. Like when I'm at work tomorrow, like, let's get in there, let's engage. And
yeah.
it's not like you can like enter in something in the, in the algorithm and try to find it, right?
Yep. Yep.
But those are actually like, as a consumer, those are my favorite ones to read. And people have been so clever. They have been like really, really clever. So yeah, we've got to start like some sort of Instagram account that captures all of those, because there are some like social media managers out there that are like doing God's work. Like it is hilarious.
I mean, they're like borderline comedians, like
Yeah.
at some of them. It's like
Yeah.
really entertaining. And they
Yeah.
really take on that brand persona in a way
Yeah.
that like works, right?